My name is Natalie Harper, and at 31 years old, I learned that some friendships only survive when your life looks successful. The text from my best friend Amber came 3 weeks after I'd lost my job. Hey, I think we need some space. You're going through a lot right now and I need to focus on positive energy. Take care. I stared at those words for 20 minutes, sitting in my apartment surrounded by unpaid bills and rejection emails. Amber and I had been inseparable for 8 years. We'd met in college, survived terrible boyfriends together, celebrated promotions, split countless bottles of wine over shared dreams and fears. But apparently, unemployment wasn't part of her vision for positive energy. The job loss had been sudden, company-wide layoffs at the marketing firm where I'd worked for 6 years. One day I had a career, the next I was packing a box while security watched. Amber had been sympathetic initially, then distant, then silent, now officially done with our friendship via text message. No phone call, no explanation beyond needing positive energy, just abandonment when I needed support most. I cried for an hour, then did what I always did when stressed, bought a lottery ticket. $5 I couldn't afford, choosing numbers that meant nothing, hoping for a miracle I didn't believe in. The lottery ticket sat on my kitchen counter for 3 days, forgotten among job applications and bills. I'd been buying tickets weekly for years, a small indulgence that never won more than occasional $5 prizes. This week's purchase felt particularly pointless, throwing money away when I had none to spare. My savings were nearly depleted. Unemployment benefits barely covered rent. I'd started driving for a rideshare company at night, exhausting work that paid poorly but kept me from complete financial collapse. My parents offered to help, but they were retired on fixed income. Taking their money felt wrong. Thursday morning I was filling out yet another job application when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Probably another recruiter for a position I wasn't qualified for or a scammer trying to steal what little I had left. But something made me pick up. Hello. Is this Natalie Harper? A woman's voice, professional, slightly excited. Yes, who's calling? This is Patricia Chambers from the State Lottery Commission. Ms. Harper, I'm calling to inform you that you've won a prize. Can you verify your ticket number for me? My heart didn't even race. I'd gotten calls like this before. Congratulations, you've won. Scams trying to steal personal information. I think you have the wrong number. Is your ticket number 7-14-23-31-42-08? Patricia read off numbers slowly. I glanced at the forgotten ticket on my counter. Those numbers looked familiar. I picked it up, hands suddenly shaking. That's my ticket number. Ms. Harper, I need you to listen carefully. You've matched all 6 numbers in Wednesday's drawing. You've won the jackpot. Patricia's voice remained calm, professional, like she delivered life-changing news every day. The room tilted. I sat down heavily on my kitchen chair. That's not possible. I never win anything. I assure you it's very possible. The jackpot for this drawing was $4 million. After taxes, you'll receive approximately $2.6 million. We need you to come to our office to verify your ticket and begin the claims process. I looked at the ticket again, then pulled up the lottery website on my phone. Wednesday's winning numbers. 7-14-23-31-42-08. The exact numbers printed on my crumpled ticket. I won $4 million. My voice came out as a whisper. Yes, Ms. Harper. Congratulations. Now, it's very important that you sign the back of your ticket immediately and keep it in a safe place. Can you do that right now? I grabbed a pen with trembling hands and signed my name across the back of the ticket. Done. Excellent. I'm scheduling your appointment for tomorrow at 10 a.m. You'll meet with our financial advisors, legal team, and media relations. Do you have questions? Questions. My mind was blank, overwhelmed, unable to process what was happening. Do I have to do media? Can this be private? State law requires we publish winners' names and hometowns. However, you can decline photos and interviews. Many winners choose privacy. Patricia's tone was understanding. Ms. Harper, I know this is overwhelming. Take the evening to process. Don't tell anyone yet. We've seen friendships and families torn apart by premature announcements. After Patricia hung up, I sat in my kitchen staring at the ticket. $4 million. 2.6 after taxes. Numbers so large they felt abstract, unconnected to reality. Yesterday I'd been worried about making rent. Today I was a millionaire. I wanted to call someone to share this impossible news, to scream with joy. But Patricia's warning echoed. Don't tell anyone yet. And besides, who would I call? My parents would worry this was a scam. My sister was traveling abroad with spotty phone service. Amber would have been my first call once. We'd fantasized about winning the lottery together, planning elaborate vacations and ridiculous purchases. But Amber had ghosted me 3 weeks ago, deciding my unemployment made me unworthy of her positive energy. The irony was almost funny. Almost. I spent the evening researching lottery winners, reading horror stories about people who'd gone bankrupt within years, families torn apart by greed, winners who regretted ever buying tickets. The warnings were consistent. Hire a lawyer, hire a financial advisor, tell no one, trust no one, expect everyone from your past to suddenly reappear wanting money. That last warning made me think of Amber again. Would she come back when she learned about the money? Would she pretend she'd never ghosted me, acting like we'd never stopped being friends? The thought made my stomach turn. I didn't want to know what $4 million would reveal about the people in my life. But I was about to find out. The State Lottery Commission office was downtown in a building I'd walked past hundreds of times without noticing. Security was tight. I had to show ID twice before being escorted to a private conference room. Patricia greeted me warmly, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a firm handshake. Natalie, congratulations. How are you feeling? Terrified. Excited. Like this might still be a dream or a scam. She smiled. It's real, I promise. Let's verify your ticket officially. Then we'll walk through next steps. A team of officials examined my ticket under special lights, checking security features, confirming its authenticity. After 10 minutes, the head official nodded. This is legitimate. Ms. Harper, you are officially a lottery jackpot winner. Patricia introduced me to the team, a financial advisor named Troy, a lawyer named Catherine, and a media relations specialist named Owen. They spent 3 hours explaining options, risks, and requirements. You have 2 payout choices, Troy explained. Lump sum of $2.6 million after taxes, or annuity payments of approximately $200,000 annually for 20 years. Most winners choose lump sum for investment flexibility. What would you recommend? Yes. That depends on your financial discipline and goals. The lump sum gives you control but requires responsible management. The annuity protects against poor decisions but limits flexibility. Catherine the lawyer was blunt. You need a financial advisor, accountant, and estate attorney immediately. Not tomorrow, today. I can provide referrals to professionals who specialize in lottery winners. Do not use friends or family members, no matter how qualified they seem. Why not? Because money destroys relationships. Keep your professional team separate from personal connections. Trust me on this. Owen, the media specialist, reviewed publicity requirements. State law mandates we publish your name, hometown, and prize amount. We'll issue a press release Monday. You can choose whether to do photos or interviews, but your identity will be public. What happens when people find out? Yes. Expect contact from everyone. Old friends, distant relatives, charities, investment scammers, people you barely remember from high school. They'll all have reasons why you should give them money. Owen's tone was matter-of-fact. My advice: change your phone number immediately. Set up a P.O. box. Don't answer your door without checking who's there first. The warnings kept coming. Don't make major purchases immediately. Don't quit your job yet. Wait until everything's processed. Don't loan money to friends or family. Don't invest in strangers' business ideas. Don't trust anyone who claims you owe them something because of shared history. By the time I left with a check for $2.6 million, I felt more anxious than excited. This money could change my life for the better. Pay off student loans, buy a house, create financial security I'd never imagined. But it could also reveal ugly truths about relationships I'd thought were genuine. I deposited the check at my bank, watching the teller's eyes widen at the amount. Within hours, my account balance transformed from $300 to over $2 million. Numbers on a screen that didn't feel real yet. That evening, I followed Catherine's advice and hired a financial advisor from her referral list. His name was Marcus, and he specialized in sudden wealth management. Lottery winners, inheritance recipients, people who'd never handled significant money before. First rule, Marcus said during our initial call. Do nothing for 60 days. Let the money sit. Don't buy anything major. Just breathe and adjust. I followed Marcus's advice, living as if nothing had changed while my bank account held millions. I continued driving rideshare at night, partly for normalcy and partly because I hadn't figured out who I was without work defining me. Marcus helped me pay off my student loans. $43,000 gone in a single transaction. My car loan, credit cards, all debt erased. I moved money into investment accounts he'd set up, creating a diversified portfolio designed for long-term growth and steady income. You'll never have to work again if you live reasonably, Marcus explained. Conservative estimates show your investments generating $60,000 to $80,000 annually. That's a comfortable life without touching principal. But I didn't want to stop working entirely. I wanted purpose, not just wealth. I started planning. Maybe starting my own marketing consulting business. Maybe traveling while I figured out what mattered now that survival wasn't consuming all my energy. The Lottery Commission scheduled the press release for Monday. I had 3 days before my life became public, before everyone knew I'd won millions. I spent those days in strange limbo, simultaneously wealthy and anonymous, free yet anxious about what freedom would cost. Saturday afternoon I was grocery shopping when I saw Amber. She was in the produce section, looking perfect as always. Designer athleisure, fresh manicure, the confidence of someone whose life was going exactly as planned. She didn't see me initially. I could have left, avoided the encounter. But something made me walk toward her. Maybe curiosity about whether she'd acknowledge me. Maybe a need to see her face when she realized I'd survived just fine without her positive energy. Amber! She turned, surprise flashing across her face before her expression smoothed into false warmth. Natalie! Oh my God, it's been so long. 3 weeks. She'd ghosted me 3 weeks ago. Not that long. How are you? I'm great. Working on this amazing new campaign at work. Just got back from Cabo with Tyler. She caught herself, realizing she was bragging to someone she'd dumped for being unemployed. But how are you? Did you find a new job? I'm figuring things out. I kept my voice neutral, refusing to give her information she didn't deserve. That's good. I'm so glad you're doing okay. I felt terrible about what I said about needing space. I was going through my own stuff and I didn't handle it well. The apology sounded rehearsed, like she'd prepared it in case we ran into each other. You texted me that my unemployment was bad for your positive energy, I said quietly. That's not handling it well. That's abandoning a friend when she needed you. Amber flushed. That's not fair. I was dealing with my own struggles. You were worried my problems would make you look bad. That's different from struggling. Picked up my basket. I'm glad you're doing well, Amber. Really. Enjoy your positive energy. I walked away, hands shaking but head high. In 3 days she'd find out about the lottery. She'd realize I didn't need her friendship or her positive energy. That I'd survived her abandonment and won the universe's largest consolation prize. The thought brought satisfaction, then immediate shame. Was I really measuring my worth by money now? Was I already becoming the kind of person who defined value by wealth? Marcus's words echoed. Money reveals character, it doesn't create it. You'll find out who you really are, and who everyone around you really is. That knowledge is the actual prize. Painful but valuable. Monday morning, the Lottery Commission issued the press release. By noon, my phone was ringing constantly. I'd followed Owen's advice and changed my number, but somehow people found it anyway. Old college acquaintances, distant relatives, people I barely remembered, all congratulating me and casually mentioning they had investment opportunities or personal emergencies requiring financial help. The local news featured my story. Local woman wins $4 million lottery jackpot. They used my driver's license photo since I'd declined interviews. Social media exploded. Friends I hadn't spoken to in years posted congratulations on my pages, suddenly interested in my life. My parents called, genuinely happy but worried. "Honey, this is wonderful, but please be careful. People will try to take advantage." "I have advisors, Mom. I'm being smart about this." "Good. Don't give money to anyone without thinking hard first. Not even family if they pressure you." My sister texted from abroad. "OMG, you won the lottery. I'm so happy for you. Let's plan a trip when I'm back." Her enthusiasm felt genuine, uncomplicated by requests for money. I appreciated that more than she'd ever know. By Tuesday, the messages became more aggressive. A cousin I'd met twice at family reunions called asking for $50,000 for his revolutionary app idea. My college roommate's sister emailed requesting money for medical bills, despite us never having had a conversation beyond hello at graduation. The charity solicitations were overwhelming. Legitimate organizations and obvious scams, all wanting donations. My inbox overflowed with sob stories, business proposals, and thinly veiled threats suggesting I owed people because of shared history or moral obligation. Wednesday brought the message I'd been expecting. Amber texting my new number she'd somehow obtained. "Natalie. OMG, I just saw the news. I'm so happy for you. This is incredible. We need to celebrate. Call me." Multiple exclamation points, emoji hearts, enthusiasm that would have seemed genuine if she hadn't ghosted me 4 weeks ago. I stared at the message, anger and hurt mixing together. Marcus had warned me about this. People who disappeared will reappear. They'll act like nothing happened, like they always supported you. Set boundaries immediately, or they'll drain you financially and emotionally. I typed a response, deleted it, tried again. Finally settled on, "Thanks. I'm keeping things quiet right now. Take care." Her response was immediate. "Of course. But we should get coffee soon, catch up properly. I miss you." She missed me. The friend who'd explicitly stated my unemployment was bad for her positive energy now missed me. The friend who'd needed space suddenly wanted coffee to celebrate wealth she'd had no part in creating. I didn't respond. Blocking her felt too aggressive, too much acknowledgement that she'd hurt me. Instead, I let her message sit unanswered, a digital silence that mirrored the silence she'd given me. Thursday, I met with Catherine the lawyer to discuss estate planning and trust structures. You need to protect your assets from lawsuits, relationship breakups, and poor decisions. We'll set up trusts that limit your exposure. This all feels so paranoid, I admitted. Like I'm expecting everyone to betray me. You're being realistic. Sudden wealth changes how people see you. They don't see Natalie anymore, they see money. Protecting yourself isn't paranoid, it's necessary. By Friday, 2 weeks after learning I'd won, I'd settled into a strange new normal. My financial team managed investments, fielded solicitations, and advised on major decisions. I'd quit the rideshare work, too risky now that my face had been on the news, and spent days figuring out what I actually wanted to do with unlimited options. The job applications I'd been sending out started getting responses. Suddenly, companies that hadn't bothered replying were interested in interviewing me. The timing was suspicious. My name was now associated with lottery millions, making me a potential networking connection or client source. I declined the interviews. If they hadn't wanted me when I was unemployed, I didn't want them now that I was wealthy. Instead, I researched starting my own marketing consultancy. Not because I needed income, but because I genuinely enjoyed the work before corporate bureaucracy had drained the joy from it. Now I could choose clients, set my own schedule, and build something meaningful without financial pressure. Marcus approved. Having purpose beyond wealth is crucial. Too many lottery winners lose themselves in spending and excess because they don't know who they are without work structure. My parents visited that weekend. Mom immediately started cleaning my apartment, old habits from my childhood. Dad sat me down for a serious conversation. Natalie, I'm proud of you for handling this responsibly. But I need to warn you about something. His expression was grave. Your Aunt Teresa called yesterday. She wants you to invest in her boyfriend's restaurant. When I said you were being careful with the money, she got angry. Said we raised you to be selfish. I've never even met her boyfriend. That's my point. People will come out of nowhere claiming connection, demanding support, acting like you owe them something because you got lucky. He squeezed my hand. Don't let guilt manipulate you into bad decisions. 3 weeks after winning, I decided to use some money for good. Not responding to random solicitations, but choosing causes that mattered to me. I donated anonymously to the food bank where I'd volunteered in college. I funded scholarships at my former university for first-generation students. I supported local animal shelters, domestic violence prevention programs, and literacy initiatives. Marcus helped me structure the donations for tax benefits, setting up a charitable foundation that would continue giving long-term. This is smart philanthropy. You're supporting causes you care about without depleting principle. The giving felt good, purposeful, like the money had meaning beyond just making my life comfortable. But I kept everything anonymous. No plaques with my name, no publicity, no one knowing I was behind the donations. That anonymity protected me from the parade of sob stories and manipulative requests. If people didn't know I was actively giving away money, they couldn't target me as aggressively. 1 month after winning, Amber tried again. This time a phone call that I declined, followed by a voicemail. Natalie, I know you're probably overwhelmed right now, but I really want to talk. Not about the money, I promise. I just miss my best friend. Please call me back. The emotional manipulation was transparent, pretending she cared about friendship rather than money, using phrases designed to trigger guilt. I'd seen through it immediately, but part of me still hurt. The Amber I'd known for 8 years wouldn't have done this. Or maybe she would have, and I'd just never seen it because our friendship had never been tested by significant financial disparity. Marcus noticed my mood during our weekly check-in. Someone from your past reaching out. My former best friend. She ghosted me when I lost my job. Now she wants to reconnect. What are you going to do? Nothing. She made her choice when she decided my unemployment wasn't compatible with her positive energy. Marcus nodded approvingly. Good boundaries. Remember, real friends support you regardless of circumstances. Fair-weather friends disappear during hardship and reappear during success. I thought about that distinction constantly. Real friends versus fair-weather friends. Who in my life had stayed when I had nothing? Who had reached out during unemployment, offering support without expecting anything back? My parents, obviously. My sister, who'd sent encouraging texts even while traveling. My former coworker James, who'd grabbed coffee weekly after the layoffs just to check on me, never expecting me to pay despite being unemployed. James, I should call him. Not to brag about the money, but to acknowledge his friendship when it had actually mattered. I arranged to meet him for coffee at our usual place. He arrived looking professional. He'd found a new job at a competing firm, and immediately hugged me. Natalie, I saw the news. This is insane. How are you handling it? It's surreal. Some days I forget I'm a millionaire. Other days I'm overwhelmed by how everything's changed. I bet. People coming out of the woodwork asking for money. Constantly. People I don't even remember suddenly claim we were close friends who supported each other, and now it's my turn to help them. James shook his head. That's gross. For what it's worth, I liked you fine when you were broke. You're buying coffee today though. You're rich now. I laughed, genuinely relaxed for the first time in weeks. Deal. We spent 2 hours catching up. He told me about his new job, office politics, terrible first dates. I told him about the bizarre experience of sudden wealth, the advisors, the fear of making catastrophic mistakes. Are you going to stop working completely? he asked. I don't think so. I'm planning to start my own consultancy. Something small, meaningful, without corporate nonsense. Pause. Actually, I'm looking for someone to partner with. Someone I trust who knows the industry. James looked surprised. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering partnership. We'd build it together 50-50. I provide capital, you provide expertise. We choose clients we actually want to work with. Build something we're proud of. Natalie, that's incredibly generous, but I don't want you to offer this because you feel obligated. I'm offering because you were my friend when I had nothing. You bought coffee when I was unemployed, checked on me regularly, never made me feel like a burden. That's rare, and it's valuable. I met his eyes. I want to build something with people I trust. That's you. He was quiet for a moment, processing. Can I think about it? Talk to my wife. Absolutely. No pressure. If you're happy where you are, I understand completely. We left it there, comfortable and honest. Whether he accepted or not, I'd offered partnership to someone who'd proven their character. That felt right in ways random charity never could. Driving home, I felt lighter. The money was a tool, not a burden. I could use it to create opportunities, support real relationships, build something meaningful. The parasites and fair-weather friends would eventually fade when they realized I wasn't a cash machine. That evening my phone rang. Unknown number, but I answered out of habit. Ms. Harper. This is Channel 7 News. We're doing a follow-up story on lottery winners, and we'd love to interview you about how the money has changed your life. I'm not interested in interviews, thank you. We could blur your face, use voice alteration. People are fascinated by lottery winners. This is a chance to tell your story on your terms. My terms are privacy. Please remove my number from your contact list. Hung up, annoyed. The media attention was the worst part. Strangers feeling entitled to my story, my experience, my reactions to sudden wealth. 2 months after winning, I'd settled into a rhythm. My financial portfolio was structured and growing. My charitable foundation was operational, quietly funding causes I cared about. James had accepted my partnership offer, and we were developing business plans for our consultancy. Life felt purposeful again, but lonely. I'd cut off contact with people who'd proven themselves opportunistic. That left a smaller circle. Family, James, a handful of friends who'd supported me during unemployment, but a more genuine one. Still, I missed having a best friend. Someone to share random thoughts with, to call when something funny happened, to make plans with spontaneously. Amber had filled that role for 8 years. The void she'd left was larger than I'd expected. My therapist, another addition to my post-lottery team, helped me process the grief. You're mourning the friendship you thought you had. That's valid. But I'm also angry that she only valued me when I looked successful. Both things can be true. You can mourn the loss while also recognizing the relationship was conditional in ways you hadn't seen before. The therapy helped, but didn't eliminate the loneliness. I'd learned painful lessons about conditional friendship, but I didn't know how to find new friends without wondering if they wanted me or my money. 3 months after winning, I attended a charity gala for the literacy nonprofit I'd been anonymously supporting. They'd invited major donors, not knowing I was behind one of their largest contributions. I went out of curiosity to see how my money was being used. The event was elegant. Downtown hotel ballroom, formally dressed attendees, silent auction tables arranged around the room. I felt out of place immediately, despite wearing an expensive dress I'd recently purchased. A woman approached, probably late 30s, warm smile and confident demeanor. Are you here solo too? I'm Julia Winters. Natalie Harper. And yes, flying solo tonight. Thank goodness. Everyone else seems to know each other, and I'm standing here feeling awkward. We ended up talking through most of the event, finding surprising common ground. Julia worked in nonprofit management, had recently moved to the city, and shared my love of mystery novels and hiking. The conversation flowed easily, naturally, without the weighted awkwardness that had characterized most interactions since winning the lottery. Can I ask why you're at a literacy gala? Julia asked eventually. Not that you shouldn't be, just curious what drew you. I believe education access is crucial. Literacy opens doors, creates opportunities. I kept my answer vague, not mentioning my substantial anonymous donation. I've worked in education nonprofits for 10 years. Sometimes it feels impossible, the scope of need versus available resources. But events like this give me hope. We exchanged numbers before leaving, planning to meet for coffee. I walked to my car feeling lighter than I had in months. Julia didn't know about the lottery money. We talked about books and work and hiking trails, not wealth or status. For one evening I'd been just Natalie, not the lottery winner. Marcus noticed the change in my demeanor during our next meeting. You seem happier. Something good happened. I made a new friend. Someone who doesn't know about the money. That's valuable. Hold on to relationships that existed before the win, and be selective about new ones until you're sure they want you, not your resources. How do I know the difference? Time. If someone's patient, respectful of boundaries, interested in your thoughts and experiences beyond money, that's someone worth keeping. If they push for financial help, probe about your wealth, or make your money central to conversation, walk away. Julia passed those tests easily. We met for coffee, then hiking, then dinner. She talked about her nonprofit work, funding challenges, the satisfaction of seeing programs succeed. She asked about my consultancy plans, offered advice about starting a business, never questioned why I'd left corporate work suddenly. 4 months after winning, James and I officially launched our consultancy, Harper & Morrison Marketing. Small client lists, selective projects, emphasis on quality over quantity. We'd built something we were proud of, something that generated income but more importantly generated purpose. Julia became a regular part of my life. We met weekly for coffee or walks, shared book recommendations, attended concerts together. The friendship felt genuine, comfortable, free from the weight of financial disparity because she didn't know disparity existed. But keeping the secret felt increasingly dishonest. She'd shared details about her life. Her modest salary, her struggle to afford her apartment, her student loan payments. Meanwhile, I sat on millions, pretending we were financial equals. 5 months after winning, I decided to tell her. Not because I had to, but because real friendship required honesty. We met at my apartment. She'd never been there before, and I'd deliberately chosen a modest place that wouldn't scream wealth. Julia, there's something I need to tell you. Something I've kept private because I wanted our friendship to develop naturally without this information affecting things. She looked concerned. Are you okay? Is something wrong? I'm fine. Actually, I'm more than fine. But I've been not entirely honest about my financial situation. Took a breath. 5 months ago I won the lottery. $4 million. That's why I could afford to start a business, why I left corporate work. Why a lot of things that probably haven't made sense financially. Julia stared at me, processing. You won the lottery. Like the actual lottery. Yes. And I didn't tell you because I wanted to know if we'd be friends without that information affecting your perception of me. Julia was quiet for a long moment. Then she started laughing. Oh my God. I've been complaining about student loans to a lottery millionaire. I'm mortified. Don't be. That's exactly why I didn't tell you. I wanted our friendship to be normal, to not have money hanging over every interaction. She sobered, studying my face. Is this why you're telling me now? Because you don't think we're real friends? No, I'm telling you because we are real friends. You've proven yourself over months without knowing. You liked me when you thought I was just a consultant starting a small business. That matters. Natalie, I'd like you if you worked at McDonald's. I like you because you're funny and kind and we have great conversations. Not because of your job or your money. You pause. But I'm curious. Was I some kind of test? Not intentionally. After the lottery, everyone from my past came out wanting something. Former friends who'd ghosted me suddenly wanted to reconnect. Distant relatives needed financial help. I didn't know who was real anymore. I met her eyes. You were real. You are real. That's rare. Julia reached over and squeezed my hand. I'm glad you told me. And I'm glad you won. Not because it benefits me but because you're doing good things with it. The scholarship programs, the charitable foundation, that's who you are. How did you know about those? They're anonymous. She smiled. I work in non-profit management, remember? I recognize donation patterns. And your foundation's giving matches exactly the causes you and I have discussed. I figured it out about a month ago. And you didn't say anything. I figured you'd tell me when you were ready. Or not. Either way, it didn't change our friendship. After Julia left, I felt something close to peace. Real friendship had survived the test of wealth. She'd known for a month and hadn't changed. Hadn't started making subtle requests for money or treating me differently. That was worth more than any lottery jackpot. 6 months after winning, Amber tried one more time. A letter arrived at my parents' house. She'd found their address somehow. Handwritten on expensive stationery. Dear Natalie, I know I hurt you. I know I abandoned you when you needed support. And I know my attempts to reconnect since the lottery have seemed opportunistic. You're right to be skeptical. But I want you to know I've spent 6 months in therapy working through why I acted that way. My therapist helped me understand that I measure my worth by external success. And when you lost your job, I saw it as a reflection of failure I was terrified of. I was selfish and cruel. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect your friendship back. I just wanted you to know I see what I did wrong and I'm sorry. Hope you're happy. You deserve happiness. Amber. I read the letter 3 times, searching for manipulation, for hidden requests. But it seemed genuine, raw, honest, free from the exclamation point enthusiasm of her previous attempts. I showed it to my therapist. What do you think? Is this real or another manipulation? What does your gut say? My gut says she's embarrassed and wants forgiveness to ease her guilt. But that doesn't make the apology insincere. Do you want her back in your life? The question stopped me. Did I? 6 months ago, absolutely. No. I had Julia, I had James, I had genuine relationships built on actual mutual support. Did I need a friend who'd proven she'd abandon me during hardship? I don't think so, I said slowly. I appreciate the apology. Probably took courage to write. But I don't trust that she won't do it again next time life gets difficult. I wrote back to Amber, keeping it brief. Thank you for the apology. I appreciate you acknowledging what happened. I wish you well, but I don't think we're meant to be friends anymore. Take care of yourself. Natalie. Sending it felt like closing a chapter. The friendship was over, really over, acknowledged by both of us. The grief was real, but so was the relief. 1 year after winning the lottery, I threw a small party. Not to celebrate the money, but to celebrate the life I'd built with it. Julia was there, and James with his wife, my parents and sister, and a few other friends who'd proven themselves genuine. We didn't talk about the lottery. We talked about the consultancy's success, about the charities we'd supported, about hiking trips and books and plans for the future. Normal conversation among people who valued each other. My father pulled me aside. I'm proud of you, Natalie. Not because you won the lottery, but because you handled it with integrity. A lot of people would have gone crazy with that much money. You built something meaningful instead. I had good advisors. And good examples. I hugged him. You and Mom taught me that money is a tool, not a goal. That lesson saved me. Later that evening, after guests had left, I sat on my balcony looking at the city lights. A year ago, I'd been unemployed and abandoned by my best friend, buying a desperate lottery ticket with money I couldn't afford to waste. That ticket had changed everything, but not in the ways I'd fantasized about during those weekly purchases. It didn't solve all my problems or make me happier automatically. Instead, it revealed truths I'd needed to learn, about who my real friends were, about what mattered beyond financial security, about building a meaningful life rather than just a comfortable one. The money gave me options I'd never had before. Freedom to choose work I loved, ability to support causes that mattered, power to build something lasting. But the real gift was clarity. Clarity about relationships, about values, about who I wanted to be when survival wasn't consuming all my energy. Amber had taught me about conditional friendship. Her abandonment during unemployment had hurt, but her opportunistic return after the lottery had been instructive. Some people only valued success, never the person beneath it. Julia had taught me about authentic connection. She'd befriended me without knowing about the money, stayed consistent when she discovered it, never treated me differently because of wealth. That was rare and precious. Marcus called the next morning for our regular check-in. 1-year anniversary. How are you feeling about everything? Grateful. Anxious. More confident than I was a year ago. Pause. The money changed my circumstances, but I had to change myself. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. Sudden wealth reveals character. Yours and everyone else's. You've handled revelation well. He pulled up my financial reports. Your portfolio has grown by 12%. Your charitable foundation has distributed $400,000 to causes you care about. Your business is profitable and growing. You've built sustainable wealth and meaningful purpose. That's rare among lottery winners. What happens to most winners? Bankruptcy within 5 years for about 70%. Destroyed relationships, poor investments, spending without boundaries. You avoided those pitfalls by taking time, hiring good advisors, and staying grounded in who you are beyond the money. After hanging up, I thought about that statistic. 70% bankruptcy rate. I'd been fortunate not just in winning, but in having the character and support system to handle winning responsibly. 18 months after the lottery, I received a message that surprised me. Amber's name appeared on my phone. Not in my contacts anymore, but I recognized the number. Natalie, I know you said we're done and I respect that. But I wanted you to know I got engaged. Tyler proposed last night. You were my best friend for 8 years, and it feels wrong celebrating without telling you. I'm not asking you to be part of the wedding. I just wanted you to know. Hope you're happy. You deserve to be. Amber. I stared at the message, feeling unexpected emotions. Not jealousy, I'd never liked Tyler. Not regret about our ended friendship. That decision remained right. But something softer. Nostalgia for who we'd been before life tested us. Sadness for the friendship that couldn't survive that test. I typed a response. Congratulations. I hope you're very happy together. Brief, sincere, final. She replied with a simple thank you. And that was it. Closure, real closure. Acknowledged by both of us without drama or resentment. Julia noticed my pensive mood when we met for coffee later. Everything okay? I told her about Amber's message, about the strange feeling of being happy for someone who'd hurt me. Is that weird? That I can wish her well even though I don't want her in my life. That's maturity. You can acknowledge she did something hurtful while also recognizing she's a human being capable of happiness and growth. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. I keep wondering if I should have given her another chance. If I was too harsh. Natalie, she abandoned you during the hardest time of your life, then came back when you won millions. You gave her a chance. You listened to her apologies, considered her letter, made a thoughtful decision. That's not harsh. That's boundaries. Julia was right. But part of me would always wonder about the friendship we'd had before money complicated everything. Would we have stayed friends if I'd found another job instead of winning the lottery? If there had never been a dramatic wealth disparity to reveal her conditional loyalty? 2 years after winning, my consultancy had grown beyond initial expectations. James and I had hired 3 additional consultants, moved into a small office space, built a client roster of companies we genuinely wanted to work with. The business generated profit, but more importantly, it generated purpose. My charitable foundation had distributed over $1 million to literacy programs, educational scholarships, and workforce development initiatives. I'd remained anonymous as the founder, but the impact was public and measurable. Thousands of students receiving support they wouldn't have had otherwise. My parents retired fully, their financial stress eliminated by the trust fund I'd set up for them. They traveled, visited grandchildren. My sister had twins, and finally relaxed after decades of work and worry. Julia and I had become family to each other. She'd introduced me to her nonprofit world, connecting me with causes that aligned with my values. I'd supported her career growth, eventually funding a new initiative her organization had struggled to launch. "You know what's amazing?" Julia said during one of our weekly walks. "You've never made your money the central thing in our friendship. I almost forget you're a millionaire until something reminds me." Is that good or bad? It's good. It means you're still you. Natalie, who likes bad coffee and long hikes and mystery novels. The money enhanced your life without consuming your identity. That's rare. I thought about that often. The money had given me freedom, security, options. But I'd worked hard to ensure it didn't define me. I drove a modest car, lived in a comfortable but not extravagant apartment, dressed well but not ostentatiously. I wanted to be known for what I built and who I helped, not for what I'd won. 3 years after winning, I attended the Literacy Nonprofit's annual gala again, this time as an acknowledged major donor. The organization had finally connected my foundation to me after I'd increased funding significantly. They'd invited me to speak about why literacy mattered. Standing at the podium, looking at hundreds of faces, I felt the weight of visibility. For 3 years, I'd operated mostly anonymously, avoiding publicity, keeping my wealth private except among close friends and professional advisors. But this moment required visibility. If my story could inspire others to give, to support education, to invest in community, that was worth the discomfort. 3 years ago, I was unemployed and scared. I began. I'd lost my job, my best friend had abandoned me, and I didn't know how I'd survive. Then I won the lottery. $4 million that changed my circumstances overnight. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Everyone loved lottery stories. Winning could have gone many ways. I could have spent recklessly, trusted the wrong people, let money isolate me from meaningful connection. Statistics suggested I'd be bankrupt within 5 years. Pause. Instead, I hired good advisors, rebuilt my life thoughtfully, and decided money was a tool for creating impact, not just comfort. I talked about the scholarships, the literacy programs, the workforce initiatives my foundation supported. I won $4 million, but that's not the real story. The real story is what I chose to do with it. Build something that outlasts my lifetime, create opportunities for people who need what I needed 3 years ago. A chance. The applause was generous. Afterward, people approached wanting to talk about philanthropy, about their own charitable work, about education access. For the first time since winning, I felt comfortable discussing my wealth publicly because the focus wasn't on me. It was on impact. 5 years after winning the lottery, I sat in my office. Real office now, corner space with windows overlooking the city, reviewing the journey. The consultancy employed 12 people. My foundation had distributed over $3 million. My investment portfolio had grown to $4.8 million through careful management. But more importantly, I'd built a life I was proud of. Genuine friendships with people who valued me beyond my bank account. Meaningful work that contributed to something larger than profit. A family I could support without them becoming dependent. Purpose that transcended the initial luck of matching 6 numbers. Julia knocked on my door, carrying coffee from our favorite shop. Ready for our walk. Always. I closed my laptop and grabbed my jacket. We walked through the downtown park, discussing her nonprofit's new program launch, my foundation's upcoming scholarship announcements, normal conversation between friends who'd been through years of life together. "Can I tell you something?" Julia said eventually. "When we first met, I thought you were interesting but kind of sad. Like you were carrying weight you couldn't share. The lottery secret. Partly. But also the betrayal of people you'd trusted. You were rebuilding yourself and it showed." She smiled. "Now you seem lighter. Like you figured out who you are beyond the circumstances." She was right. 5 years ago I'd been defined by loss. Lost job, lost friend, lost sense of self. The lottery had given me resources to rebuild, but I'd done the actual work. Choosing advisors wisely, setting boundaries with opportunistic people, investing in genuine relationships, creating purpose beyond wealth accumulation. Amber had gotten married, had a baby, posted perfect family photos on social media I occasionally glimpsed. Her life looked happy from the outside. I wished her well genuinely now, without the complicated hurt that had colored earlier feelings. My phone buzzed with a text from James. New client signed. This one's exciting education tech startup that needs our help scaling. Thought you'd want to know immediately. I smiled, texting back confirmation. The consultancy continued growing, not because we needed money but because we'd built something excellent that attracted clients who valued quality. That evening, I updated my journal, a practice my therapist had recommended years ago. 5 years of entries documented the journey from unemployment and abandonment to wealth and purpose. The final entry read, 5 years ago, I won $4 million. Everyone focused on the money, the amount, the luck, the sudden change. But the real win wasn't the lottery. The real win was discovering who I was when survival wasn't consuming all my energy. The real win was building relationships based on authentic connection rather than transactional benefit. The real win was learning that wealth without purpose is just numbers, but wealth with purpose can change lives, mine and others. Amber ghosted me when I was struggling. I thought that betrayal would define this chapter of my life. Instead, it taught me to recognize real friendship when I found it. The lottery gave me money. Loss and betrayal gave me wisdom. Both were necessary to become who I am now. I closed the journal and looked around my apartment, comfortable but not excessive, filled with books and photos of people who mattered, evidence of a life built on values rather than wealth. Outside my window, the city glowed with evening lights. Somewhere out there, someone was buying a lottery ticket, hoping for the miracle I'd received. I hoped they'd be as fortunate as I'd been, not just in winning, but in having the character, support, and wisdom to handle winning. Because $4 million could destroy as easily as it could elevate. The difference wasn't the amount. The difference was what you chose to do with it, and who you chose to become in the process. My best friend had ghosted me after I lost my job. Then I'd won the lottery. But the real story wasn't about money or betrayal. The real story was about discovering that your worth isn't determined by employment status or bank balance. That genuine relationships survive testing. That purpose matters more than comfort. That who you are when no one's watching, when you have every option and no obligations, reveals your true character. I'd chosen to be someone who used wealth to create opportunity, supported genuine relationships, and built something meaningful. That choice, repeated daily for 5 years, had created a life worth living, not because it was wealthy, but because it was purposeful. And that was worth infinitely more than $4 million.